And welcome back, folks. This is U.S. Home Talk. We're live every Wednesday at noon. And, of course, you can find us wherever you find your podcasts. We're on all the streaming platforms. We do appreciate however you tune in, whether it's live or later in the week. Jason Walgrave here with Walgrave Real Estate Group and the Minnesota Real Estate Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus. The great mortgage Michael Overson with Luminate Bank is off this week. He is on his annual fishing trip up north. I am sure
Gone fishing.
Gone fishing. He's going to come back with some fish stories, I'm sure. Probably believable. I think they do pretty good up there.
I feel like most of his fishing stories are more believable than the fishing trip stories, if you know what I mean.
I would agree. I would agree. Marcus Walgrave with Hague Realtors. He is also off this week. He's got a board meeting. Evan, thank goodness you and I are here. Even though we were 10 minutes late, we're here. We're here.
You know, my computer works great most of the time, except when I actually need to be on the show with you, as opposed to just sitting here watching. And that's like, hey, have you tested your camera recently?
Hey, you got it working. Yeah. It's all good. Folks, be sure to check out our website, ushometalk.com. Best way to get a hold of us anytime. You can connect with Mike, Marcus, myself, Evan, all of our fantastic partners. We've also got tons of information about buying, selling, investing, financing real estate. You can connect with all of our fantastic partners. And we've got all of our past shows on there as well. So check it out, ushometalk.com. Excuse me. We got a real estate hotline number. During the show, you can text us your questions. That number is 612-234-7585. Again, the text line during the show, 612-234-7585. That's also our 24-hour real estate hotline number, so you can call, text that number anytime, connect with any of us or any of our fantastic show partners here at U.S. Home Talk. All right, today, what are we talking about? 10 mistakes you may be making on your home. Home ownership comes with some additional responsibilities. Evan, you're familiar with this. You've been a homeowner for a long time. Too long. It's not all. What do they say? It's not all rainbows and unicorns, or how's that saying go?
Yeah. Not all sunshine and rainbows.
That's what it is. Not all sunshine and rainbows. But here's some things to take a look at, to keep in mind, to help prevent those mistakes, prevent additional costs to maintain your home. Number one, using traditional light bulbs. We've talked about this in past shows, and I'll tell you what, there's some huge benefits for LED lighting, LED light bulbs. It can, I think, feel overwhelming to think about replacing the entire house at once, but maybe you just do it one room at a time. Evan, what do you get? Do you have LED bulbs in your house, or what do you have?
Yeah, mostly. All my lights are LED. I think maybe I still have one or two CFL bulbs kicking around somewhere in the basement, but
pretty much all LED. They work great. I think we've probably replaced, at least half of them. I replaced all the exterior lighting a couple years ago. They're supposed to last like 7 years, so we'll see. We'll see on that.
You know, it's funny. The LED diode itself will technically last for like 100 years, but nobody makes bulbs that are high enough quality to actually last that long. Mm-hmm. So I remember when they were first rolling out LED bulbs, people were like, they'll last forever. And I've replaced a lot of LED bulbs with bad circuit boards and, like discoloration on the inside and stuff. Got to make nicer bulbs.
Well, and or they want to continue to have repeat customers, which I get too. So
yes,
but there's different kinds. I think the technology has come a long way. I feel like the first generation of those bulbs had a very different light, and almost uncomfortable light for some folks.
If you want to get into the nitty gritty, I actually can on this because there's an aspect of lights that's very important for us painters called CRI, or color replication index. Okay. And essentially early LEDs had a very poor CRI because their light wasn't as full spectrum as the sun's. A CRI of 100 means it's just like daylight. And a lot of stuff that were like daylight bulbs were like the right color, but it really wasn't that full spectrum. It was just pieces of it. So it kind of sort of looked the same, but wasn't quite the same. Yeah. Modern LED bulbs are really good, though. They're very cheap. And smart bulbs are a lot of fun. They're very useful in the right contexts.
Yes.
So
we use the smart bulbs during Christmas season. It's kind of cool. You can change the colors and
easy festivity.
Way easier than putting up lights, Christmas lights. I'll tell you what. So that was number one on our list. Make sure you're checking out your traditional bulbs. It may be time to upgrade those. Number two, we're talking about 10 expensive mistakes you may be making on your home. Number two, ignoring a leaky faucet. I think a lot of times folks have exterior faucets, exterior to their home, and maybe they're dripping a little bit or they're leaking a little bit. Certainly, and so what it has here, leaky faucet that drips 1 drop per second can waste more than 3,000 gallons per year, which is enough water to take more than 180 showers. Holy smokes. That's a big number. That's a really big number. I mean, obviously, if you've got a leaky faucet in the house, you're talking about a whole different set of potential issues. Damage to the property, damage to cabinets, under cabinets, ceilings, the list goes on. So keep in mind that small drip could be costing you 3,000 gallons per year. Number three on our list, using the wrong air filter size. Folks, look, just because it fits in there doesn't mean it's the right size. And if it's not, you're missing out on the advantages of having a good filter, right? Air is cleaner. There's definitely benefits for your furnace that runs more efficiently when you have the filter that fits right. Evan, I'm sure you can imagine, I have seen furnace filters way too small, and people are using them, and I mean, they're not working. It's not effective.
I don't really have to imagine. I mean, I use the properly sized furnace filter, but I have been remiss in replacing it once or twice and been like, oh boy.
Yes,
no way a lot of air was moving through this.
No. And they, a lot of them say, every 90 days change them. I like to buy the less expensive ones and then just change them every 30 days. I feel like it's more effective for us, but regardless, just put a reminder on whatever you're going to change them 30, 60, 90 days. Just make sure you change them. I think it also depends on how many people you have in the house and how often those doors and windows are open and closing, and
how many pets you have. That's the big one for me. I've got 3 now, and boy, every time I pull that out, I'm like, wow, it's a free fur rug.
So what do you got?
Even if it's only been, I've got 2 cats and a dog.
2 cats and a dog.
One is trying to jump on the desk right now.
Oh, that's that's almost like a Garfield-looking cat.
Yeah, but yeah, it's always kind of wild just how much gets sucked up. And then on top of that, there's still plenty of cat hair and dog hair in the house to clean up. So
there is. You got to get one of those robot vacuum cleaners that just vacuums all the time.
I have one. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work?
It gets clogged up too easily. The long hair dog, it can't handle it.
That's pretty good. Folks, we're talking about 10 most expensive mistakes you may be making on your home. Number 4, not customizing temperature. I think that, depending on where you spend the majority of your time, and for most folks, it's in the kitchen, living room, maybe master bedroom. You got a lot of additional areas in the house that, if you don't have either a smart thermostat or you have, and actually our number 5 on the list is not adjusting air vents properly. If you got a basement that you're not going in very often, or maybe you're not in the basement during certain months of the year, make sure you're adjusting those air vents and make sure that you're customizing the temperature. Programmable thermostats work great, especially if you've got time where maybe you're away for 8 to 10 hours a day at work. There's no reason to have that temperature set to a comfortable level if there's nobody in the house. Even if you have pets, I think that they're fine with a few degrees less, right? Or more in the summer.
Honestly, they might enjoy it more than we do.
Probably.
So
I think that they do like a little cooler temperature. Folks, we're talking about 10 of the most expensive mistakes you may be making on your home. Number 6, I'm guilty of this one. Oh, I've done better though. Number 6 is overwatering your lawn. Oh man, there's different sensors. You got the different zones, depending on if you've got shade or full shade or half shade. I am definitely guilty of this. Last year, I'll give you an example, Evan. So last year, I said, okay, we're gonna water less, and so I reduced. I think we have 7 zones, so I reduced 6 of the zones to half of what I was using the previous year. I kept the one at full, the front yard one that there's no shade at all. It gets baked all day. So I left that one. The other 6 I reduced to 50%, and my lawn looked pretty similar to the previous year as far as being green. So that just shows you right there, I was using way, 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 way too much water. Way too much
You got to
water.
cut it more now this year. See how far you can go.
Yeah, see how many days. Well, thankfully my sons mow the lawn, so they actually enjoy doing it. So that's not a big deal. But it's true. More you water it, more you're mowing it. So that's number 6 on the list. Number 7, water heater temperatures set too high. I see this a lot in homes that we're showing. Customers are buying. They do the inspection. I mean that's actually a fairly common inspection repair request. It's not really a repair, but it's a request that comes from inspections. You got scalding hot water coming out of the faucets.
So Jason, I have a confession to make. My water heater is set to the maximum temperature. The dial is off the end of hot, beyond hot.
It's beyond the red. It's all
Well, the
way
whole
beyond
knob
the
is red. I just mean like I have it pushed up past the range because the knob is like maybe a little misaligned on its, like index marks or whatever. But yes, I have my water heater set to the absolute maximum.
And
Now,
why do you do that? Or what's the purpose of it? Just
to take longer showers. I 100% serious, because the hotter your hot water is, the more cold water you can mix in, to get that same temperature.
Yeah.
So you can make that, I think it's a 55-gallon water heater. I can make that go longer.
So like how long? Give me an example. What's the longest shower you could take at a consistent temperature, comfortable?
Well, it depends on the season, because your water inlet temperature changes depending on the time of year. So right now, my water inlet temperature is about 48 degrees, and I can take about a 35, 40-minute shower.
Okay.
But in the summer, when my water inlet temperature is more like 68 degrees, I can take an hour and a half long shower.
Is it that big of a temperature difference?
It makes
Wow.
a humongous difference, actually, is what I found.
Dang.
Because, the tank water heaters can't really keep up with the temperature change from the water coming in, because they make such a small difference. So the temperature of the water coming into the water heater makes a giant difference on how long it can supply hot water.
Wow,
And I will say the other big advantage of having super hot water is I find it cleans my dishes better.
Well,
but-
that's true.
But I do think that this is a mistake, because my guests always complain.
Do they?
Because I always warn them, remember, my hot water is really hot. And they go, yeah. And then they turn on the water just like a 50-50 mix, and that's way too hot for most people. Like, it won't burn you hot, but they go, oh, that's really hot.
Well, on the flip side, you can boil water pretty quickly.
That's true. Yeah, that is another advantage. You run hot water into the pot, you're already halfway there. So,
Folks, we're talking about 10 most expensive mistakes you may be making on your home. Be sure to check out our website, ushometalk.com. We're live every Wednesday at noon. You can catch all of our past shows, connect with Evan, myself, Marcus, and Mike, all of our fantastic partners, and tons of information on there about real estate, buying, selling, investing, financing, commercial real estate, really all things real estate. You can also ask questions at any time. We've got a fantastic 24-hour real estate hotline number. During the show, you can text in questions, 612-234-7585. Again, 612-234-7585. All right, number 8 on our list. This is a pretty common one. We see this often: leaky windows and doors. We recently just listed a really nice home in Prior Lake in that, mid 700s price range, and the front door was missing the seal. So much so you could look out the door and they could look in, and so huge energy loss from that. Windows, we see seals broke on windows. Make sure you fix those. Seals on your garage doors. Those are another big one. Oftentimes get missed. Even if you don't have a heated garage, make sure that seal is good. Your garage is going to keep warmer. So check your seals on leaky windows and doors. Get those fixed. It's going to prevent just energy loss, heat and in the winter, and AC in the summer, and it can prevent water intrusion. So if you've got bugs and maybe small animals, depending on how big that leak is.
That's a big, yeah. Definitely the door seals, I feel like, is the biggest one that I see a lot, where they've got the old like aluminum wedge seals, and they've completely flipped over, and you go into the house and you're like, there's snow on your floor.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
The front door, you open it up and there's snow that had been blown in. So.
Just a little teeny tiny wedge where it's blown through. Yeah, it's not good. No. And it makes that whole room unpleasant to be in, and it hurts your heating bill. And
it damages the door, damages the floors, walls, trim, so on and so forth. So make sure you're checking those leaky windows and doors. Number 9 on our list, and I'm guilty of this one. Number 9 on the list of 10 of the most expensive mistakes you might be making on your home. Number 9 is paying a handyman. Don't pay a handyman for jobs that are simple enough to do yourself. If you're unsure, I'll tell you what, YouTube, fantastic resource. And not just for home repair needs, but vehicle stuff. I've had car batteries I didn't even know where they're at. Couldn't find them. Needed to change it. Went on YouTube. YouTube's got some great videos on repairs as well. Folks, you'd be surprised at how many things you can do on your own. And it can save you a lot of money in the long run. So the more you do them, the better you're going to get at them. So that's number 9 on our list, paying for a handyman.
You'll also appreciate it a lot more. That's what I would say.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
But it will also take you, you'll watch a 15-minute tutorial, multiply the number of minutes that the tutorial is by 8 is normally my rule for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 15-minute tutorial, so this will take 2 hours. It's a 30-minute tutorial. This will take me 4 hours.
That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. I like that. Last on our list, folks, we've been talking about 10 most expensive mistakes you might be making on your home. Number 10, and I don't know that we see this one a whole lot, but it does happen. Number 10 is ignoring curled shingles. Look, folks, if the shingles are curling, it's at the end. Your roof, your shingles are at the end of their life. Man, Evan, as you know, we've seen so many storms in the last decade.
Yeah.
So many storms. And it is, I don't know what the stats are. It's got to be close to like 50% of all homes in the last 10 years have had a new roof due to storms. Maybe not that high, but got to be close.
I could probably find that stat from one of our carriers. It's I think it's probably more than that.
Really?
In Minnesota, I think it's probably more than that.
It's so we're not seeing this often because most roofs are good. Folks, if you've gotten to the point where the shingles are curling, you got to do something. You are days or a windy day away from having roof and ceiling damage.
I don't think we see a lot of curled shingles here just because of our average roof age from wind hail events and stuff. But I do routinely see homes that have shingles that get ripped off in storms.
Oh yeah.
Where they have suffered enough damage and drying out over time, where they're just old shingles. And that it happened to my neighbor. I walked out in my backyard and I said, oh, this is a shingle from someone's house. And I looked over, and sure enough, my next door neighbor's house was missing a couple shingles after a storm. And I was like, oh, okay. You really need to get a new roof.
or at minimum repair it, right?
Yeah.
Good grief.
Well, if the shingles are getting ripped off, it's probably beyond repair at that point.
Well, and hopefully he's got insurance, and then the insurance should pick up that, right?
Yeah.
Folks, top 10 most expensive mistakes you may be making on your home. If you'd like this list sent to you, simply go to our website, ushometalk.com. Shoot me over a message, and I'll send you the full list and all of the details in it. We do appreciate you tuning in this week. We will be back next week. Probably have Mike and Marcus along, and Mike with some fish stories.
It's going to be post Super Bowl, which means it's the first show of the spring market.
Look at that. The unofficial official spring market here in Minnesota. It's the week after the Super Bowl. So, any predictions for the Super Bowl, Evan?
One team will score more points than the other team and secure victory.
That's a guaranteed prediction right there.
There will, in fact, be a winner and a loser. I know this because they do not allow ties for the playoffs and Super Bowl.
They do not. I'm going to be rooting for the Eagles. Although I think Kansas City's going to win. I think the Eagles are actually expected Vegas odds to win, but I just
really
I think the Casey's going to pull it off. So
you heard it here first. Jason thinks that the fix is in. The game is rigged.
You know what?
Kansas City will win.
Did my eyes just say that? Because I certainly was thinking it.
You and everyone else.
Folks, we do appreciate you tuning in. We will be back next week, same time, noon on Wednesday. Hope you have a fantastic week.